Namaste. I'm Tracy Seuss Walker of Nurture Yoga Massage, and today's sequence is a yoga practice, a short yoga practice for heart opening. And so we're actually going to start in Shavasana for tonight's practice. And so I invite you to bring with you on your mat tonight a bolster or a blanket that you can roll up, and we can bring ourselves down onto our mat, sitting gently onto the edge of the bolster with the soles of the feet together, and let those hands come behind your glutes and slowly begin to puff out your chest as you let yourself lower your spine down to your setup. And we're going to make ourselves comfortable by bringing a hand to the heart and a hand to the navel. And we'll let the eyes soften as we tune into the breath and begin to observe the body. And in our practice tonight, we're going to begin to extend the inhalation. So as we breathe down into the belly, slowly beginning to expand the lower and the middle and the upper abdominals with air. We'll fill the side ribs and lungs as well. And when we reach the top of the breath, we're going to let it recoil and reverse and move towards the spine. And we'll begin to notice the temperature of the air in our nostrils. And we'll become a witness to the transition between the in-breath and the out-breath. Witnessing the temperature shifts from cool to warm and warm to cool. Making a connection between your body and the earth below you. And we'll begin to notice the meeting points to where the body touches the mat, the carpet, the space that you're practicing in this evening. And we'll take a moment to become clear on why we've chosen to practice a heart opening series or session of yoga. Once you've become clear on the why for your practice tonight, we'll slowly begin to bend the knees. And we're going to walk the feet now about hips distance apart. We're going to bring the hands alongside the hips. And as you bend through the knees, we're going to tuck the tailbone under. And if you're on a blanket, letting the sacrum come off. And we're going to hold on to the side edges of the mat as we lift vertebrae by vertebrae, our hips and our spine up and off the mat. We're going to press down into the four corners of the feet. And we're going to bend through the elbows here so that we can feel the triceps touching the mat. And almost imagining as though you have robot arms pressing down into the four corners of the feet, lifting the hips higher. We're going to create some space between the chin and the heart. Inhaling, reaching those arms overhead. So really pressing the feet into the mat, continuing to lift, and letting the gaze be upward towards the sky, or inward, letting those eyes soften and rest. And if it's available to you in your practice, letting the arms come out into a T, and then bend at the elbows so that the arms look like goalpost arms or cactus arms. And we'll begin to take 3 more breaths. And slowly lowering down vertebrae by vertebrae, letting your spine come all the way down to the mat. We're going to bring those knees into the chest as we release and relax the lumbar spine. We'll go ahead and stamp the feet down to the mat again and shift the hips gently over to the right, dropping those knees off to the left. And maybe it feels good to come back into those goalpost arms by bending through the elbows And then we're going to slowly roll over to our left side, stacking those limbs. And then we'll press our top arm down into the mat next to our face and slowly allow ourselves to lift the head and the torso as we come back tall on our spine on our sticky mat. And so you can move your block, or your blanket rather, off to the side. We can come into a nice comfortable cross-legged seat, easy pose, Sukhasana. You can also bring your heels in front of your groin and stacking your heels one by one. And if you're noticing tonight that your hips tend to be a little bit higher, your knees tend to be a little bit higher than your hips, you'll go ahead and pad your seat with a cushion or a blanket. And so as we sit tall on our spine, we're going to bring the backs of the hands to the knees, and we'll go ahead and join the thumb and the index finger together. And we'll let the eyes soften as we connect again to our breath. And in this moment, allowing yourself to let your attention pick up upon the sounds far off into the distance as you can hear in the space that you're practicing in. And without attachment to those sounds, just become aware of what they are, letting your mind be curious. You can name those sounds. We're going to rotate our conscious awareness from sound to sound. And let's let our awareness come a little bit closer to the space that we are practicing in right now. Picking up upon the sounds that are in the space that you're in. We'll move a little bit closer, bringing our awareness to the flow and the sound of our breath in our body. And maybe even the rate and the rhythm of the heart. Bringing a hand to the navel and one to the heart center. Noticing the gentle rise and fall of the in-breath and the out-breath. And as you practice with me today, we'll pay attention to our heart and the chest space. This is where we give and receive our love. And so by opening our heart, opening our lungs, our collarbones, we let the body come into a state of balance. So if you're ready, you can keep your hands connected to your heart and one to the navel, or you can bring your hands into prayer pose, Anjali Mudra. And as you bow your chin towards your chest, let yourself set an intention on a point of focus that will help you grow your practice, help your breath become more regular, and help you grow stronger. We'll let the hands come down to the knees now, and we'll slowly let ourselves move the torso in a clockwise direction. As you exhale, you'll draw the navel back towards the spine. And as you inhale, you'll move forward with your heart. Exhaling, drawing yourself backwards, and inhaling, moving forward. We'll move through a few rounds. And then when you're ready, letting yourself switch the direction, inhaling as you come forward. Exhaling, drawing your navel back. Inhaling as you move forward. Exhale as you draw your belly back. And then we'll hold on to the knees or the shins and slowly begin to arch the spine, lifting the head, coming into a sway back seated pose, and then exhaling, drawing the navel center back towards your spine in a seated cat-cow posture. Inhale, the heart lifts, the chest lifts, the throat becomes vulnerable and open, just like the heart. Exhale, chin towards the chest, round through the spine, navel draws back. Inhale, we'll begin to lift the heart. And exhale, rounding through your spine. And inhaling once again. And exhaling, chin towards the chest. And let's come into a neutral spine now, sitting tall on the spine, lifting the crown of the head upwards. We're going to let the arms come out into a T, and we'll begin to circle through the wrists. We'll reach those arms overhead. Exhale, drawing those hands down to your heart center, bringing those hands to the heart, bring those fingertips to the sternum. Let's bring the thumbs to the sternum and have the fingers spread wide, like actively pressing your palms into one another as the belly draws back. And as you inhale, pointing the fingertips away from you as you begin to round through the spine, chin moves backwards, arms reach out in front. And we'll burst a heart forward, separating the hands, and let those elbows come down towards the hips. Inhale, reach those arms up into an upward facing hand pose. And we'll exhale, twist the torso to the right. Bring that left hand in front and the right hand behind you. Sitting tall on your spine, we'll cross that left hand over to the outside of the right thigh. And coming into that seated spinal twist, we'll gaze over the right shoulder. Continuing to press down into the back hand as you lift through the heart. And we'll challenge our gaze, our peripheral will begin to gaze over to the right side. Inhaling and exhaling, lifting those arms up. Coming back into upward facing hand pose, twisting your torso now to the left, bringing your right hand in front and your left hand behind. Sitting tall on your spine, we're going to let the twist resonate from the hips. Bring that right hand to the outside of the left leg, gazing over that left shoulder. Breathing into your body. And as you continue to inhale, we'll lengthen through the crown. And as you exhale, we'll twist from the hips. Taking 2 more breaths. And let yourself come back to center now. Breathing into the body. Let's bring those hands back out into a T. We're going to give ourselves a giant hug. We're going to hold on to our shoulders here, letting those elbows draw forward. And from here, what we're going to do is we're going to point those fingertips up. That right arm wraps around to the left wrist or the hand. And we're going to reach those elbows high. Exhale, drawing the navel center towards your spine. Drop those arms down. Inhale as your arms reach up. And exhale as those arms move down. One more time. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, lower. And we'll release that clasp now, clasping the hands behind the back, drawing the knuckles behind your seat. Lift your heart up. And exhale, folding from your hips, draw your forehead down to the mat.
Taking 3 breaths here, inhaling and exhaling.
And we'll return to sitting tall on our spine. And this time we'll bring those hands back out into a T. And if your right arm was under the last time, we'll bring that left arm under, giving ourselves that giant hug, stacking those elbows. And we'll go ahead and wrap that left wrist around your right, lifting the elbows now so that they are parallel with the shoulders. Breathing into your body, reach the elbows upwards, lift your heart. Exhale, rounding through the spine, chin comes towards the chest. Breathing into the body, inhale, reaching those arms up. And exhale, drawing those elbows back towards the navel, rounding through your spine. Come sit back tall on the spine. Separate those hands, clasp the hands behind your back. And if your hands, your palms do not reach one another, reaching the opposite hand for the opposite elbow or wrist. And we're going to reach the heart up towards the sky. And exhale, release the hands here. So coming into our cow's face arms, we're going to reach the right arm out to the side and extend that right hand high towards the sky. We're going to bend now through the right elbow, bringing the right palm in between the shoulder blades. Inhale as you reach that left arm out to the side into the shape of a T. Exhale, bend through the elbow, bringing that left hand on top of the right elbow, drawing it down towards the middle of your back. And we want to resist the urge for the arms to press the head forward and down. So we're going to press the head into the hands, stretching that right elbow upwards and those right fingertips between your shoulder blades. Exhale the left hand down, rotate the thumb down towards the earth, bending through that elbow, and we're going to reach the hands towards one another in the middle of your back. And so we come into cow's face, arms. Breathing here, draw that right elbow back. And we'll release our clasp here, letting those hands come back out into a T, circle through your wrists. And we're going to draw that left arm up, reaching as high to the sky as you can. Bending through that left elbow. Inhale, reach the right arm into a T. Exhale, go ahead and reach that right hand to the top of the left elbow. Resisting your head pressing forward, draw your chin back into the skull. Inhale, right arm is going to reach up, point that right thumb down, bending through the elbow and walk the hand to meet the left hand. So we may be close to touching fingertips. We may be clasping our fingertips together. And if your hands are not, we can bring a strap between those hands and pull the strap in opposition to continue to lift the heart and the chest. Breathing into your cow's face arms, Gomukhasana. We'll release and we'll extend those arms out and up. Palms are going to press together. Exhale, bring those hands to the heart. Inhale, we'll prepare by opening those elbows out into goalpost arms. Drop the elbows down, lift the heart and chest. Exhale, bring the hands to the heart. And as we breathe into the body, we're going to allow ourselves to bring the feet into bound ankle pose. Bringing the soles of the feet together and letting yourself move those knees up and down, just like a butterfly's wings would be flapping in the middle of summer, thinking about those monarchs and their return. Let's hold on to the feet, the toes, lift through the heart. Exhale as the elbows fold back, fold forward from the hips. Now if it feels right for you, you can press the elbows into the calves, or we can bring the forearms in front of the shins. Inhale and exhale. Let's go ahead and lift the torso again. We're going to close this chapter by drawing the knees together. I'm going to turn sideways so that you can see, and we'll begin to extend the legs out in front. And as those legs come out in front, press those hands down into the mat. Draw the toes towards your nose. If you don't feel like you'd like to sit on your bolster or your prop anymore, you can move it out to the side. Good. So as those palms press down into the mat, the toes lift. We're going to inhale, reach those arms up towards the sky, shoulders into the socket. Exhale, go ahead and plant those hands behind your seat with those fingertips pressing down into the mat. We're going to puff the chest forward and begin to press into the hands and the feet as we come into our inclined plank here. So in your inclined plank, you're going to internally rotate the legs, letting the head rest between the shoulders. And if that is not available in your practice, bend through your knees, drop the hips down towards the mat, and come into your reverse tabletop. Breathing into the body, keeping the heart open, maybe letting the head rest between the shoulders. If not, protect your neck by gazing down at the navel, lowering the hips when you're ready. Breathing into the body. We're going to cross at the ankles, crawl forward now as you come into your tabletop pose. And from tabletop pose, we'll flip the wrists. We'll go ahead and point those fingertips towards the knees. And we'll go ahead and sit slightly back towards the heels to stretch the wrists. And go ahead and bring those fingertips now pointing forward. And we'll go ahead and bring the big toes to touch. Widen the knees. We're going to bring the right hand to the center of your mat. Underneath the shoulder, reach the arm up. We'll thread the needle, come down to the side of the arm, the forearm, or the elbow. dropping the shoulder down towards the earth. Breathing into the body. If you'd like, you can walk that right arm out in front of the shoulder. You can take 3 breaths here. You can work to stack the palms if you'd like. You can reach the right arm up, or you can wrap that right hand over to the left hip, or extend through the sacrum by pressing down on the spine. Taking 3 to 5 breaths. Inhale, let yourself come back up. Left arm reaches up, lowering that left hand down to the mat. Let it come to the center. Right arm is going to reach up, stacking through the shoulders. Exhale, now thread the right arm underneath your left and let yourself come down to the right cheek, the side of the arm, and maybe the forearm and elbow. You can stack those palms. You can also extend the left fingertips beyond the right. Give the shoulder a gentle stretch. Inhale, left arm is going to reach up, stacking the arms. Maybe bringing or wrapping that left hand over to the right hip, drawing that left elbow back, or pressing that left palm down your sacrum, giving yourself a gentle stretch. Inhaling and exhaling, left arm is going to reach up. Go ahead and plant the left hand down on top of the right. And we'll go ahead and bring that left hand underneath the shoulder, pressing the left palm down into the mat. Inhale, reach the right arm up. Exhale, come into tabletop. We'll let ourselves bring the knees underneath the hips, and we'll come into a few cat-cows. And as you reach your heart forward and look up between your eyebrows, feeling as though your heart is pressing towards the horizon, exhale, rounding through the spine, chin towards the chest. And after about 5, 6, or 7 rotations, you can press your hips back towards your heels and let yourself come into child's pose. Maybe you extend the arms forward this time. Noticing if the knees are closer together, a little extra bonus today is a stretch for the digestive system. We'll feel the compression of the thighs against the internal abdominal organs. We'll plant those palms down into the earth, drop the shoulders, the elbows, dropping the forearms down to the mat. Slowly begin to slide those hands back towards the heels. And we'll let the backs of the hands rest alongside the ankles. You can rest on your forehead or over onto your right cheek. Letting those eyes be soft or resting. Letting your hips release towards your heels. And over to the opposite side. Letting your shoulders drape over your knees if available. And let's go ahead and bring our forehead back to the mat, clasping the hands behind the lumbar spine. Palms are going to press to the best of the ability. Draw your shoulder blades together. Lift those knuckles up. As the shoulder blades come together, you have the option to stay here or slowly begin to roll into the shins, coming to the soft spot of the crown as the tops of the feet press down into the mat. Knuckles are moving skyward. Inhale and exhale. Drop those hips towards your heels and let those hands come under your shoulders. As you slowly roll up, we're going to come into a kneeling posture today. Rising up to the shin bones, we're going to separate the feet, and some of you might like to tuck your toes under. You're going to lean back towards the shins. Right arm is going to reach up. Left arm is going to reach back towards that left heel, pressing those hips forward. Inhale and exhale. Left arm is going to reach up. Right hand is going to reach back for that right heel. Coming into your half camel. Inhale and exhale. We'll come into supported camel. We'll bring those hands just above the glutes, letting them rest onto the glutes as you press the hips forward, rolling back towards the shins. Maybe then walk those fingertips upwards, looking up towards the sky. Press the shins down into the mat, elbows draw close together. Exhale, chin towards the chest. Bring the big toes closer together and let yourself return into your child's pose. Clasping your palms, lifting the knuckles, shoulder blades come together, rolling into the soft spot of your crown. Exhale, lowering those hips towards your heels. Inhale as your hands come under your shoulder. We're going to come back up into a kneeling posture. And so if you want to come into toe stand, you can go ahead and tuck the toes under and go ahead and sit back towards your heels, making sure those baby toes come forward with you. And we're going to inhale and exhale, plant those hands down into the earth and letting yourself come into the downward facing dog shape. So we'll peel the shin bones off the mat here, separate the feet about hips distance apart, pressing your tailbone back and up. We'll rotate the triceps back towards the shins as the biceps move forward. Breathing here into your body. Big toes are touching. And if it feels right in your practice, you can reach that right leg up. Opening up on the hip, bending through the knee. Left hand can come to the center of the mat as you flip your dog if you'd like. Inhale as those hips lift high. Press the left big toe down into the mat and lift your heart towards the wall behind you. Exhale as you come back into three-legged dog. And you can take a vinyasa flow here if you'd like. Be coming down into plank, maybe moving through knees, chest, and chin. That 8-angled pose. Pressing the legs back and relax the tops of the feet as you press up into cobra pose. Exhale, come down to the mat. As you bring your forehead down to the earth, let those hands come closer to the ribs. Elbows are squeezing closer to the rib cage. Relaxing the tops of the feet. Sweep the forehead, nose, and chin forward and out. Looking forward onto the horizon. Elbows draw closer together. Baby cobra, maybe lifting the palms off the mat, looking up. Exhale, come on down. Inhale now, we'll bring those hands in front of let's bring those arms out in front as we come into Sphinx pose. Or draw the elbows back, lead with the heart. Looking up at the third eye, relaxing through the tops of the feet, pressing down into the palms. And if you'd like, you can take this a step further as you press the palms down into the mat. Straighten the arms as you come into seal. Breathing here. So feel that nice back bend towards the spine. Exhale, come on down. We'll cross at the elbows here. We're going to come into crocodile pose. So we'll relax the tops of the feet. We'll widen the feet a little bit here so that the inner edges of the feet touch our mat. And then slowly begin to bring your forehead down to your forearms. Inhaling and exhaling now. Let's bring those hands underneath the shoulders. And we'll bring our forehead down to the earth. Tuck the toes under. Charge the backs of the legs by peeling the kneecaps, the quads off the mat. Exhale into push-up, downward facing dog. So from your downward facing dog, walk those hands out in front of your shoulders. Breathing into your body. We'll bring the big toes to touch. And honoring yourself in the space you have to practice in today, we're going to lift that left leg high. Open up the hip bend through the knee. We'll We'll bring the right hand to the center of the mat, flipping the dog. Bring that left foot behind your right. Press those hips down, lift those hips up. Let's go ahead and bring that left arm over the ear. Coming back around, three-legged dog. And from your three-legged dog, let's take our vinyasa flow of choice. Inhaling and exhaling. And we'll come into downward facing dog. And we'll begin to walk the hands towards the feet at the middle of the mat. Dangling here, we'll bring the weight out of the heels, holding on to the opposite elbow. Letting the thighs reach, letting the torso reach down towards the thighs. Starting to feel the torso resting. Letting the head relax, letting the head be heavy. We're gonna inhale now, bring the hands to the shins. Coming into our Ardha Uttanasana, we want a straight spine, looking forward. Exhale as we fold, holding on behind the calves, press the shin bones forward. Draw your chin towards the chest and lengthen the crown down towards the tops of the feet. Slowly let yourself uncurl your spine, coming into standing mountain pose, Tadasana. Noticing how you feel as you've saluted the day or saluting the day, and bring those hands into your heart. Let's do that a few more times. Inhale as the arms reach up. Maybe interlace the thumbs, pressing the hips forward. Exhale, swan dive, forward bend. Half sun salutation, we'll rise halfway up or bring the hands to the shins. Looking forward onto the mat, the front of the mat. Exhale, forward bend. Bend through the knees, uncurl your spine. Reaching the arms up. Exhale, bring the hands down to the heart. Inhale, circle sweep the arms up. Nice back bend to the spine. Press the hips forward. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, half lift. And this time, as you press your palms down for Uttanasana, let's walk, jump, or step back into our plank pose. Lifting the hips into down dog. Moving through your vinyasa of choice, chaturanga, knees, chest, and chin, cat-cow. We'll all meet in downward facing dog. And from here, we're gonna reach the right leg high to the sky. And we'll use momentum of the exhale to step that right leg through between the hands. And we'll heel toe that left leg back as we bend into the right knee, dropping that left knee down to the earth. Arms are gonna reach up. Palms are gonna press, or you can interlace the thumbs. You can also interlace the hands, index fingers up. Nice back bend to the spine, maybe dropping the top of that left foot down. Exhale the hands to the inside now of that right foot, and let yourself bend through the right knee, looking forward, breathing into the body. So if you'd like a little bit more of a challenge here, widen the stance of your arms and let yourself take 2 Gecko push-ups, forehead down to the earth. Breathing into the body, we'll go ahead and tuck the back toes under, and we'll square our hands to each side of the right foot, peeling the left knee off the mat, stepping that right foot back to meet the left, downward dog. As those big toes touch, the left leg is gonna lift high. And we'll use the exhale, the momentum of that exhale to step between our hands. Heel toe that right leg behind, drop that back right knee down. As you relax the top of the right foot to your mat, bring the hands to the left knee. Reach the arms out in front. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale now the hands to the inside of that left foot, and maybe heel toe that left leg out a little bit further to the left side of your mat. We're going to tuck the back toes under, high lunge, and we'll take 2 push-ups here in Gecko 2 push-up. Exhale. Squaring your hands to either side of the front left foot. Slide the left leg back and up. Downward facing dog. And from our downward facing dog, we'll move forward into plank and 8-pointed pose, 8-angle pose. Knees, chest and chin. Hug the elbows towards the ribs. Inhale and exhale, straighten the arms, straighten the legs. Cobra, Bhujangasana or Cobra pose. And exhale, press the hips back towards the heels, tuck the toes under. Slowly let yourself roll up into scared cat. Arch the spine, lift the head, separate the feet. Return to down dog. And from downward facing dog here, we'll walk our hands and feet to the middle of the mat. And this time we'll bend through the knees so that the lowest part of the rib cage is touching the thighs. We'll bring the hands to the hip creases. Elbows are pressing back and up. Straighten the back. Come on up. Inhale, reach those arms up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Widen your feet now the distance of your mat. And we'll prepare the body for Malasana, Yogi Squat. Exhale as you begin to bend through the knees. We're going to point the knees the direction of the ankles and the toes, and we're going to sink those hips back towards the heels. Breathing into your body, you can stay in Malasana as long as you would like. If you have a wall behind you, you can sit as though the lumbar spine is pressing into the wall to help you get deeper into your squat. We want to keep the heart open. And we'll find a gazing point with the option to stay here for 1 to 2 minutes. You also have the option to come down. And we'll widen our stance here as we come into wide-legged straddle. We're going to reach back for the sit bone flesh. Turn that sit bone flesh upwards. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, hands to the heart. Inhale, let the elbows come out into goalpost arms. Reaching the fingertips to where the ceiling and wall meet. Exhale, as you hinge from the hips, we're going to reach the hands for the toes. And we're going to lift the heart. And every time we inhale, we're going to lift through the heart. Every time we exhale, we're going to forward bend. So as the elbows splay out to the side, the elbows draw back, heart opens, lifts. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. And beginning to notice how you feel. When you feel as though you've encountered your furthest point in your forward bend, you can allow the hands to come down to the middle. And if you have blocks, you can stack your blocks in front of your torso. Conveniently, I do not have my blocks today, so I'm going to use my yoga blanket. And I'm going to let myself press that yoga blanket into the groin, just like I would if I had a bolster there. And I will work to release, to exhale into this forward bend. It's a convenient enough prop that I can stack through the forearms if my torso isn't touching the earth yet. And we'll relax, gripping in the toes. We'll relax the ankles. And we're slowly letting ourselves come into this nice forward fold here. We're going to inhale, bring those hands underneath the shoulders and lift the torso. So in our wide-legged forward fold here, you can stay up to 2 minutes if you'd like. And then we'll go ahead and let that chapter close. We'll bring the soles of the feet together into our bind, and we'll let ourselves fold forward from the hips. You can bring the heels closer to the pelvic rim if you'd like, but you're going to notice a deep stretch into the groin, or maybe even noticing the adductor muscles feeling really tight. So you can move the heels further away from the pelvis or closer together, your choice. Further away, less stress on the adductors. You can use the elbows to press into the calves, or letting those elbows and forearms come in front of the shins as your forehead comes closer to your feet. Staying in your bind for anywhere between 30 seconds to 1 minute, just linking your breath to each and every inhale and exhale. Coming down to our mat now, we'll draw those knees together and slowly come on down to the back. Releasing the lumbar spine, giving yourself a chance to come into some gentle knee circles, clockwise and counterclockwise. You can come into happy baby here, holding the outer edges of our feet, letting yourselves rock from side to side. Feeling those knees open to the outer edges of our hips. You can also bring the soles of the feet together in bound angle, reclined bound angle. Drawing those knees together and lowering those heels down to the earth. So if you have a block, you can come into supported bridge stance by tucking the tailbone under, holding the sides of your mat, pressing the mat away. And we'll begin to peel each vertebrae off the mat as we come back into our bridge, shutting that block gently at the level of the sacrum. And if you don't have one, clasping your hands behind your back, and we'll tuck those shoulders under and let the pinky edges of our hands touch the earth. You'll send the gaze upwards. And if you're looking for more of an intense stretch, you can bring the body into wheel pose by lowering each vertebrae down towards the mat. We'll lift the head, neck, and shoulders slightly off the mat, and then we'll create some length between the head and the neck. We'll point those fingertips towards the shoulders, and we'll bend through the knees. And on the inhale, we'll prepare. On the exhale, we'll press into the four corners of the hands and the feet, and come to the crown of the head, and then extend into full wheel pose. So breathing here. Coming back down to the crown, letting yourself tuck your chin towards your chest. We'll bring a hand to the heart, a hand to the navel, and we'll let the body extend into Shavasana, our final rest. Letting your next exhale be an audible exhale that comes out of your nose or mouth. If you're breathing from your nose, we'll take on the victorious Ujjayi breath. Scanning your body now for tension or tightness, looking for that residual tension and tightness that maybe no longer serves you from your practice, and breathing into those areas of discomfort tonight. And as you inhale and exhale, letting your eyes rest, connecting your hand to the heart, maybe the hand to the belly. And notice that natural rise and fall of both the in-breath and the out-breath. And continuing with that natural breath, feeling the air enter through your nostrils and exit through your nostrils. And on your next inhale, feel the belly rise and feel the ribs be expansive. Feeling the chest lift, coming to the top of the breath just below the level of the throat. And on your exhale, let the breath leave your chest, ribs, and feel the belly fall. And continuing with this relaxed breathing, third exhale, begin to feel the breath as a wave coming from the belly and rising to the top of the breath beneath the throat, and letting the breath go in a wave-like pattern out of the chest, down into the belly as the navel moves back towards the spine. Feeling the fluidity of your in-breath and your out-breath, and letting yourself complete one more cycle of breath, focusing only on your breath as the mind gently and slowly drifts away.